Alright, today's arrival is a Microtech. Finally got a Microtech. I've done a few layman's knife reviews lately over out the front automatics. They are my new favoriteest thing in the world. And one of my last ones was a Microtech clone from China that had been getting rave reviews, and I agree with them. They're phenomenal. I think as good as the Microtech. They're not selling it as a Microtech, they're not labeling it as such, but it's clearly a clone of it. But the quality is there, the materials are there, the machining on it is outstanding. But I decided, let's get an actual Microtech. Never owned one, everyone says they're the best. Well, I don't know if they are or not, so we'll do an unboxing. Now, I'm not going to be like one of the other knife nerds that spends 17 minutes talking about the packaging and the boxing and all that stuff. I don't give a shit. I buy it, it comes in a box. That's what's important. I'm buying the knife, not the packaging. So it has a box, it has paper. All right. Now what I will point out is the Vespa, which is the Microtech clone that I reviewed last time, did come with different packaging. I'll show where I think, for Microtech, for what you pay, this is the one that the Vespa came with. Really nice case. Came with a microfiber for cleaning it. Came with the tool, which also happens to work on the actual Microtech, so if I need to take it apart, I don't have to go to Microtech and spend 25 or 30 bucks for that. I actually got a nice steel tool that's knurled so you can get a good grip on it. The Vespa came with spare screws with the Microtech type heads. Came with a spare set of springs. A lot of cool stuff you get for the money with the Vespa. So as far as packaging goes, I would say the Vespa here has a Microtech beat, especially when it's at a much cheaper price point. I mean, this was 150, I think, something like that. It's a copy of the Combat Trudon, whatever, that normally costs almost 500 from Microtech. And I would put this up against the Microtech as far as fit and finish. Longevity, if I try to use this as a hard-use knife for 20 years, well, I don't know. We'll see. But it's actually pretty damn good. Carbon inlay. S35 VN blade, super slick action, amazingly well machined. Anyway, here to talk about the Microtech today, so that's just for comparison's sake. So I went the UTX 85. Part of me thinks I should have gone for the Ultratech because, again, I got big hands. This is a little knife. I didn't realize it was this small in the pictures. But I guess there's a little EDC when you want to be discreet, but you want quality, and this is absolutely quality. Whether it's better than this, that's open to debate. But went with the Tonto blade. I got it from DLT Training. Blade HQ and Knife Center, they're bigger sites, are probably the better known ones. Most people probably go there, and that's why they're often sold out on a lot of the Microtechs. But DLT Trading actually had a lot more of the different variations in stock than the other ones. So I got it from them. I think I paid $238 for this, so not bad. It's a little small, but for just a little EDC cutter, this is actually kind of perfect. It weighs next to nothing. I think it's just around 3 ounces. It's got LMAX steel, so this is considered your super steel, which should hold an edge pretty much forever, although when it does need to get sharpened, I hear it's a bitch to sharpen. So my Arkansas stones will probably not be enough. I'll have to go out and get some diamond stones. But as long as I'm not nicking the blade and really doing anything abusive with it, after use, I might just roll the edge a little. And I'm sure running it through a Lansky ceramic rods will probably just bring that edge back. So unless I do something to really jack it up, I'm sure it'll be fine. Blade play, it's got the wiggle. You can hear it. But it's solid. I mean, it's no different than my Hogues or the Vespa or anything else, They're not the front knife. It's going to have some wiggle. Just know that there's a steel lock bar that once that is fully deployed, you can bash that into a hard surface and it's not gonna go back in there. So it's actually pretty secure. So don't let the wiggle think that there's anything wrong with it. That's what they're supposed to do. Went with the OD green. What I really liked about the Tonto blade is I am a fan of the Tonto blade. It is good for piercing things. It's got a pretty thick point here, but unlike most Tonto blades that have a straight edge, there's really no belly on them, so they don't slice as well as like a clip point or a spear point or something like that. I don't know if you'll notice it's slight, but it has a little bit of belly on it. there is a curve that is not flat. It's got a little bit of a curve to it. So I think as a slicer, if you're, whatever, food prep or cutting through a piece of rope or something like that, there's enough belly. Probably not as much, it's not going to slice quite as well as a spear point or a drop point. But, I mean, for what you're going to use this thing for, I think it'd be fine. The action on it's very smooth. Doesn't take a lot of pressure. This one, because it's a much bigger blade. This is, again, a copy of the Combat Trudon. It's a big 3 3/4 inch blade. And so to fire that blade out with authority, you've got to have a stiffer spring. And with an out the front, there's no spring tension. You build the spring tension by pushing on that. It's building, it's getting harder and harder, and then it overcomes the detent and flies out. Well, with a little bitty blade, you don't need that much. It's a much lighter spring. So while this is nice and cool, and I guess if you wanted a combat knife or a heavy-duty knife, I'll carry something like this occasionally just for the hell of it. But it's a little more of like a gentleman's folder. No, I guess not a folder, just a gentleman's knife. It's nice, it's thin, it's sleek. It's got a deep pocket carry clip, so you'll just have a little bit of that peeking out. Still comes with the carbide ball bearing glass breaker, so if you had to pop a window or something, you could. But I kind of like it. It's smaller than I thought. It barely fits my hand, but for a little knife, just for opening boxes and cutting stuff or whatever, cutting open packaging and things like that, wouldn't be my first pick as a defensive blade. But it's blade. It's better than not having any blade. But very cool so far. Haven't taken it apart yet. Haven't taken this apart. I may do a video, although other people have done that. Take the video of taking them apart and showing the machining on the inside. And stuff like that, but the jimping here is nice without being overly harsh. I have a Cobra Tech that's got similar jimping, but they didn't finish it as much. But then again, the knife was $100 cheaper, so Microtech does have good fit and finish. They do the extra details and stuff there, but you can see that little X there. It doesn't chew up your finger like a cheese grater like the Cobra Tech does, but very easy to deploy. Yeah, very nice action. The anodizing is very uniform. It's a good little knife. So anyway, I guess not much to say other than it's a Microtech. There's a gazillion videos out there. But as a little EDC knife, if you want a out the front automatic, and it's legal to carry those in your state, but you don't want this big ass combat style knife, which isn't probably all that practical. I mean. If I had to put pressure on something and push down on it to cut something or whittle or whatever it might be, even though it's thinner there's a bit of a swedge. It's not sharp. You can certainly, it's got a little bit of sharpness on the side, not enough to cut you, but if you had to use like a fire striker or something, there's enough there. It's not a rounded or beveled edge. It's got that straight edge to where if you had to spark, to use your starter stick or something to start a campfire, you certainly could. Whereas I wouldn't want to do that on this. I don't want to necessarily grind into my blade or nick up the edge, doing that. Also, if I were to try to bear down on this by putting my thumb there, ooh, big mistake. No bueno. So this really is, I got this more as a novelty. It's just a big, cool knife. Got a nice, satisfying action, and, if you weren't going to be able to carry a firearm for defense, but a knife was, acceptable, and your state allows automatics, which my state does. Most states do. The laws are changing on those. That'll get the job done. But as an EDC knife, is something you'd carry around every day. It'd be in your pocket. Wouldn't even notice it. You just grab your car keys and grab your pocket knife. That's a really cool knife. I'm probably going to get the next one up. I'm probably going to get the Ultratech that this one is based on. This is the UTX 85. So it's 85% of the size of the Ultratech. And I just assumed the Ultratech was one of these, and I'm like, well, I don't need another one that size. But I wouldn't mind a little bit bigger. But, man, for discreet carry, if you got to go to the office that day and you don't want this kind of creating a lump in your pocket, this would slide right into a set of khakis or a pair of shorts, and you wouldn't even know it was there. So, very cool. The born on date, this one was made this year. So, actually, Microtech puts the serial number on there. And also puts on the, let me close this, cut myself. So that one was born in February of 2019. Very cool. I like it a lot. Haven't carried it yet. Just got it in the mail today from DLT Trading. But if you need a little one, you need a little out the front, this is pretty good, and it's not as expensive as you would expect. You know, there's the cheap Chinese ones and stuff, but this one was still $150. I mean, that's cheap by combat Trudon standards, you know, for that particular model. But for a quality name brand, U.S. made, going to have a good warranty and customer service and stuff like that, $240. Yeah, it's a good deal. It's a good knife. Anyway, if you're considering something small, I would give these guys a look.